Hello, I'm MC Toon. Today I'm going to show you a video of Mark Steele as he goes Karen during a city council meeting. Now, if you don't know who Mark Steele is, he's an anti-5G scammer. Yeah, he scams people by scaring them and getting them to join his farcical political party for just a small monthly fee. Now, he claims to be an expert.
Very expert.
Okay, he claims to be very expert.
Very, very expert.
Fine. He claims to be very, very expert, but he's not. Specifically, he's not an expert in electronics. How do I know that? Well, he said it.
I'm not an electronics expert.
Yeah. And he's also not an expert in microwave radio transmissions, because he said that too.
I'm not an expert in microwave radiation emissions.
Yeah, see, which is it? Are you an expert or not? Let's go with not. You know he's not because, well, if you watch some of my other videos, you'll see where we thoroughly embarrass him through a whole bunch of different videos and pranks we pulled on him, including feeding him some fake documents that he thought were totally real. And even after we told him they were fake, he still told people that they were real. Yeah, he did that.
And there is a document which is called the IEEE Document, which we've referred to. And if I quote a document, by the way.
So at this city council meeting, they're talking about installing a new mast. I'll skip over all of the technical details and we'll jump right to where Mark Steele starts giving his talk.
Can I now ask Mr. Steele again? Mr. Steele, if you could address the committee, you will have 2.5 minutes to present your case to the committee. And once again, the clerk will inform you when you have 30 seconds remaining.
Thank you, Chair. 5G is not 4G. 5G is not an upgrade to 4G. It is the antenna design. What people haven't been told, I'm a weapons systems expert.
Yeah, did you catch that? He just said he's a weapons systems expert.
I'm a weapons systems expert.
Yeah, he does say that he's a weapons systems expert, but we also know that he's not a weapons systems expert. And the way that we know that is because he did work at a place that maybe had some interaction with some weapons systems in the 80s when he was in his 20s. Certainly no level of expertise was gained there as the entry-level guy in some system, whatever it was. But then in 1993, he made the paper. He was in the newspaper, and in that newspaper, he was described as a fitter, which would not be a weapons systems expert job. The reason why he was in the paper is because he shot a girl in the head. Now, he lives in England, and in England, in the 90s, you're not supposed to have guns. And he had a gun, and he was shooting it, for fun or something, and he hit a girl in the head. So he was sentenced to 8 years in prison. So there's certainly no way that after being in prison, he had any experience with weapons systems. So we know he is not a weapons systems expert. When you ask him about his credentials, he won't give them. When somebody won't give their credentials, there's something fishy going on.
These technologies were developed for the defence industry to attack enemies on the battlefield. This is not a telecommunications upgrade.
And that's a blatant lie. He doesn't know anything about this topic. As he said, he's not an expert.
I'm not an expert in microwave radiation emissions.
I'm not an electronics expert.
Yeah, he's talking about 5G, and in order to be an expert in 5G, you'd need to be an expert in electronics and microwave radio transmission, both of which he's admitted to not being an expert in. It was not developed by the military. It is a nominal upgrade to the 4G network. It is simply amplitude and frequency modulated low power radio. That's it.
The antenna design can be up to 100,000 times more powerful than a 4G antenna. 4G antennas radiate inverse square law. 5G antennas focus the radiation.
Now, I don't know if he's senile or if he's just lying, but this isn't true at all. There is nothing about 5G that requires that the antennas be anything specific. They can be the exact same antennas as 4G. He does think somehow, though, that there's a difference and it's a requirement. It's not. So that's a problem. Now, he also said that 4G uses inverse square law and 5G does not. Somehow he thinks that the laws of physics don't apply to 5G. In fact, they do, just the same. He talks about focusing things here. He just doesn't understand it.
Now you'll be told by IGNIT, etc., that there's no damaging effects from non-ionising radiation. That is false. Non-ionising radiation is used in lasers to cut stainless steel. Anybody that thinks that non-ionising radiation that is focused in a beam wave is safe is being given a false egg. It's not correct.
So yeah, he did just say that. I know what you're saying. Can he actually believe it? No, he probably doesn't. He probably does. He probably doesn't. I can't make up my mind. He's certainly doing it to scare people so that he can get, more monthly donations to his farcical political party. But no, high power optical radiation, which is a laser, which is very, very focused, and low power radio waves from 5G, which can be somewhat focused, but not very much, is nothing analogous at all. He's scaring people. But please send money to him every month, right?
Public Health England have stated they don't expect to see any further increase in radiation from the deployment of 400,000 5G masts across the country. That is false. We're being misled by public authorities is very, very concerning. The fact that government are stating that health effects cannot be taken into consideration in planning is extremely worrisome.
Well, health effects have already been taken into account. The ICNIRP has done a lot of work and referred to many thousands of studies to be sure that their recommendations for health are reasonable and are safe. And if you want to read that, you can look at that on my website, mc2.net/ICNIRP. I have all 30-some citations to all of the thousands of different studies that they conferred in their recommendations. So those health effects have been taken into account. What Public Health England is saying that each individual city council and local area doesn't need to take it into account. It's already been done.
If you look at the design of the equipment, it is battlefield interrogation equipment. It's basically radar that can then focus directly at a target. That target acquiring equipment, they're not what they say is safe. I've got all of the documentary scientific evidence to confirm, and the military background
30 seconds remaining
to actually tell people exactly what this is. I can come and do a presentation.
And yes, I've seen his presentation. It's quite terrible. He doesn't have any prima facie evidence. He has a bunch of things that he doesn't quite understand in a crappy slideshow.
The council have a duty of care. Their primary legislation is to do no harm. So how can we then allow some act of parliament that can then not take into consideration the serious detrimental health effects? The Social Care Act 2012, the Secretary of State has a duty to protect the population from non-ionising and ionising radiation. This is not the case with the deployment of 5G.
The time has elapsed, Chair.
So there's his presentation. And I've covered in detail his claims on other videos of mine, so be sure to go watch them if you're curious. I have a playlist called Mark Steele. But now he goes, he starts to turn up the Karen just a little bit. His time is up. He is no longer to speak, but watch what he does.
In terms of the benefits of 5G to the area, that would be in terms of the speed would be 100 times faster than that of the current 4G. So, for example, you'd be able to download a 3-hour film within a couple of minutes rather than the long time that it takes at the moment. And it would be better for online streaming and video calling. So that's
Chair, can I respond to that, please? There are no 5G mobile devices currently. There are mobile devices that...
No, you don't. You've had your time.
I can't respond. Well, that's false. We're listening to false information here.
It's not, Mr. Steele. It's not to debate. You've got the time. That's it.
Yeah, obviously, in terms of health, there is a lot of information out there, and I appreciate there's significant concerns. However, Public Health England, the World Health Organisation and our government have also looked at all the information that is available from experts and come to the conclusion that health effects are unlikely to...
I am an expert.
I'm not an expert in microwave radiation emissions.
I'm not an electronics expert.
They have not looked at it. This is
Steele,
false.
Mr.
This is
Steele,
a total
if you
false
don't,
egg.
Mr. Steele, if you don't be quiet, I'll ask you to leave the room.
Well, I can't. We can't sit
Mr.
here.
Steele, this is not a
councillors
debate.
are being misled.
Mr.
The
Steele,
councillors are being misled here.
It is not a debate. It's not. No, no more.
Well, why are we being misled?
Mr.
Why are you
Steele?
misleading the councillors?
It's not a debate, Mr. Steele. Okay, can I turn this over to the committee, please, for debate?
So if you wish to leave now, if you've got no further speaking point you want to leave, can I ask you to do so now before we move on to the next agenda item, please?
The council voted, and it passed. Good thing. Now here is where Mark turns it up to full Karen. Unfortunately, there's no video of Mark, so you're going to have to use your imagination, but I will show you on screen what's in my imagination.
It features the violated by the line.
Thank you, Mr. Steele. Thank you. Off you go. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Well, you've got blood on your hands.
Thank you.
Every single one is criminal.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're the health impact it has.
Thank you, Mr. Robson. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Moving on to the next agenda item.
There you go. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked this and want to see more, be sure to subscribe so you can see the next one. Thanks.